I was standing on the university steps, holding a bright pink sign that said, "No gods, no masters," when I saw her. A small girl in a long coat, books pressed to her chest, head covered in a neatly wrapped scarf, a hijab. Anger rose in my throat before I even knew her name. "There," I whispered to my friend Leah, pointing at the girl. "That's what we're fighting."
We were at a feminist protest, chanting about liberation, patriarchy, and freedom over our bodies. I believed every word. I had grown up hearing that men and religion were the two main reasons women suffered. So I shouted louder every time someone mentioned religious oppression. When our chant leader yelled, "My body, my choice," I screamed it like a battle cry. The girl in the hijab just walked past us quietly, eyes down, heading into the library as if none of this was about her. That made me furious. Later that week, I saw her again in one of my classes. She sat in the front row, taking notes carefully. When the professor asked a difficult question, her hand flew up before anyone else's. Her answer was sharp, thoughtful, confident. I hated that I was impressed. After class, while everyone was packing their bags, I walked straight toward her. "Hey," I said, stepping in front of her. "Can I ask you something?" She looked up, then smiled politely. "Sure." "Why would a smart girl like you," I said, waving my hand at her, "choose to dress like that?" Her smile faded just a little. "Like what?" "Like you belong to someone," I snapped. "Covered, hidden. It's the 21st century, not the Middle Ages." A few students around us went quiet and started listening. She didn't get angry. That annoyed me even more. "I'm Amina," she said, shifting her books in her arms. "And I don't dress like this because I belong to anyone. I dress like this because I belong to myself." I laughed sarcastically. "Yeah, right. Islam is so famous for its women's rights, isn't it?" Something flickered in her eyes, but her voice stayed gentle. "Have you ever read anything about Islam?" she asked. "Other than headlines?" "I don't need to," I shot back. "I know what I see. Forced marriages, honor killings, women being told to cover up so men don't get tempted." She nodded slowly, like she'd heard this 1,000 times before. "If you ever want to ask real questions," she said, opening her bag, "instead of shouting at me in front of a classroom, you can read this." She pulled out a small blue book and put it in my hand. It was a translation of the Quran. I stared at it like it was dangerous. "I'm not going to convert," I snapped. She actually laughed softly. "Reading never hurt anyone," she said, "but ignorance does." Then she walked away. That night, I threw the book onto my desk and tried to ignore it. I had an article to write for the campus feminist magazine. Hijab, the most polite form of misogyny. The title made me proud, but the words wouldn't come. Every time I tried to type, I saw Amina's face, calm and confident, and heard her voice. I belong to myself. Who talks like that about a religion that literally tells women what to wear? Eventually, with a frustrated sigh, I picked up the Quran. "Fine," I muttered. "I'll read it, just to destroy it properly." I opened to a random page and started reading. I expected to find lines like, "Men are superior," "Women must obey," "Cover or burn." Instead, "O mankind, we have created you from male and female and made you peoples and tribes that you may know one another. Indeed, the most noble of you in the sight of God is the most righteous of you." I frowned. That didn't sound like sexism. It sounded equal. I flipped more pages. "And for women are rights similar to what is expected of them, according to what is reasonable." Rights. That word hit me in a way I didn't expect. I read for an hour, then 2. I waited for the sentence that would confirm everything I believed about Islam being evil and misogynistic. It didn't appear. Instead, I saw verses about kindness, justice, mercy, and something I'd never connected to religion before: protection of women's dignity. I snapped the book shut, my chest feeling tight. This is just good PR, I told myself. The reality is different. Look at the news. Look at the countries. Look at the abuse. But the quiet thought wouldn't leave me. What if I've only ever looked at the worst examples and never at the source? The next week, I saw Amina again on campus. This time, I went straight to her. I read some of it, I said. Her face lit up. And? It's not what I expected, I admitted, hating myself for saying it. But it doesn't change what I see. Women being told what to do with their bodies, men making the rules, control dressed up as religion. She nodded thoughtfully. Can I ask you something? She said. Go ahead. In your feminism, she asked softly, who decides your value? Me, I replied instantly. Obviously. Really, she said, looking me in the eyes. When you walk down the street, how many eyes are measuring you? Your body, your hair, your clothes? How many companies make money from your insecurities? How many times do you feel like you have to look a certain way just to be accepted? I swallowed. Images flashed in my mind. Crash diets, hours in front of the mirror, the panic before parties, the pressure to post perfect pictures, the feeling that I was never enough. That's society, I said slowly. That's what we're fighting. And Islam, she replied quietly, tells me I don't even have to be part of that game, that I'm more than my body, that a man who wants me should value my mind, my faith, my character, before he ever even sees my hair. It's still control, I insisted stubbornly. Who's controlling me? She asked gently. My father didn't force this. My brothers didn't. I put this scarf on myself. I can take it off. But why? She tilted her head slightly. Would I give strangers the right to see parts of me I reserve for people who truly love and respect me? Her words landed in a place inside me I didn't know was open. I changed the subject. So, in Islam, men and women are equal? She gave a small, sad smile. Equal in worth, different in roles. It's not a competition. It's balance. I'm not a man. I don't need to be treated like one to have value. I rolled my eyes, but the truth was, something about her presence bothered me. She was at peace. I wasn't. Over the next few weeks, I couldn't stop reading. I hid the Quran under my pillow like it was a secret addiction. By day, I shouted about freedom. By night, I underlined verses about mercy, and I had built my entire identity on that advice. But what if I didn't have to carry everything alone? Another verse. And whoever relies upon God, then He is sufficient for him. I put the book down and stared at the ceiling in the dark. For the first time in my life, the idea of God didn't feel like a threat. It felt like relief. At one of our feminist meetings, I made the mistake of sharing a tiny part of my doubts. I've been reading about religion, I said slowly. Just exploring different perspectives. The room went silent. Religion? Leah repeated, like I had just confessed to a crime. What kind of religion? I hesitated. Islam. She laughed, loud and harsh. You mean the one that stones women and throws them into bags of fabric? Some of the girls laughed with her. I wanted to defend Amina. I wanted to say, you're wrong. But the words got stuck in my throat. After the meeting, Leah pulled me aside. Listen, she said. You're one of our strongest voices. Don't let those brainwashed girls confuse you. You know what religion has done to women. Don't get soft now. I nodded, but inside, something had already broken. A few days later, I met Amina in a small campus cafe. "Can I ask you something?" I said, staring into my untouched coffee. "Why do you believe in any God at all, especially one who lets people suffer?" She paused, thinking. "When I was a kid," she said slowly, "we were refugees. We had nothing. My father used to pray for hours. I used to think, why are you talking to someone you can't see instead of fixing things?" One night I asked him, "Why do you still believe?" "What did he say?" I asked. He said, "Because if there's no God, then the people who hurt us win forever. But if there is a God, then every tear counts, every injustice will be answered, and every sacrifice matters." She looked down for a moment. "Islam didn't erase pain from my life. It gave it meaning." We sat in silence. Then she looked at me. "What are you afraid of, Emma?" My first instinct was to deny everything, but the truth slipped out before I could stop it. "I'm afraid," I whispered, "that everything I've been shouting was based on half-truths, that I've been wrong, and if I admit it, I'll lose everyone." Her eyes softened. "Truth is heavier than lies," she said, "but it's also more freeing. You might lose some people, but you'll find yourself." The storm inside me became impossible to ignore. I kept reading. I watched videos of women who had gone from hardcore feminism to Islam. I argued with them in my head, then realized they were answering questions I hadn't dared to ask out loud. One night, after a long day of protests and slogans, I came home, exhausted and empty. I stood in front of the mirror, mascara smudged, hair styled perfectly, clothes chosen to be empowering, but still socially attractive. I didn't feel empowered. I felt like a product. I whispered to my reflection, "Who am I doing this for?" The silence was deafening. My eyes fell on the Quran on my desk. My hands shook as I picked it up. For the first time, I didn't open it to criticize or to study. I just held it and said out loud, "God, if you're real, and if this is from you, then I need you to show me. I'm tired of guessing. I'm tired of fighting everything. I just want the truth." I didn't hear a voice, I didn't see a light, but something happened. It felt like being seen, completely, totally, by someone who didn't want anything from me but honesty. Tears poured down my face, deep, uncontrollable sobs. And in the middle of that, a quiet thought came to my heart. You already know this is true. I froze, because I did. The next day I texted Amina, "I need to talk, it's important." She replied immediately, "Come to the mosque with me." My heart almost stopped. "A mosque?" I typed. "I can't just walk into a mosque." "Why not?" she replied. "It's God's house. It's not a private club." That evening, I stood outside a small, simple building with a green sign. My legs felt like they were made of stone. I almost turned around, twice. But I didn't. Inside, it was calm. Clean carpet, soft voices, women speaking quietly to each other. No one glared at me. A few smiled. Amina led me to a corner and sat with me. "Are you ready?" she asked softly. "For what?" I whispered, even though I knew. "To say what your heart already believes." My eyes filled with tears. "What if I'm not strong enough?" I said. "What if I fail? What if I can't be the perfect Muslim?" She squeezed my hand. "You're not promising perfection," she said. "You're just acknowledging that there is one God and that you want to worship him the way he asked. The rest comes step by step." The imam came over. He didn't pressure me. He just asked, gently, "Do you believe there is only one God and that Muhammad is his messenger?" All the protests, all the chants, all the nights with the Quran. The moment I had asked God for guidance, it all came crashing together. Yes, I whispered. I do. Then repeat after me, he said. I took a deep breath. With my voice shaking and tears running down my cheeks, I said the words in Arabic and then in English. I bear witness that there is no God worthy of worship except Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. Allahu Akbar, the women around me said. God is the greatest. For the first time in my life, those words didn't sound like oppression. They sounded like freedom. That night, in my room, I stood in front of the mirror, holding a simple scarf in my hands. A piece of cloth I had once called a symbol of oppression. My hands trembled as I lifted it and wrapped it slowly around my head. I looked at myself. No lipstick, no styled hair, no need to impress anyone. I thought I would feel trapped. Instead, I felt safe from the constant pressure to be desirable, safe from being sized up, safe from the exhausting game of proving my worth with my body. The girl who once shouted, "No gods, no masters," had finally bowed her head, not to a man, not to a system, but to the one who created her. And in that surrender, I found the freedom I had been screaming about my entire life.